Wait, let me tell you about our virtual
Yeah, we
date.
did. The wine, like we had like.
It wasn't even it. I was going to tell you about the time that Gift decided we would play a game together.
Oh my
Because
gosh!
I
Really?
really,
Wow.
I really like games too, like board games, card games, and obviously like Gift can't like physically play games very well, but like online it works. So he decided that we were gonna play chess. What do we play?
We didn't play chess.
No.
We haven't played chess.
What do we
yet. I
play?
wanted to
We
you to
played
play chess.
Scrabble. I think we played Scrabble.
Don't give Scrabble to someone whose first language is not English. Okay, that's just like set up for failure.
Okay, stop. That's not what happened.
Okay, that's what happened.
What happened was Gift decided we were going to play Scrabble, and
'Cause I was trying to impress
literally 15 minutes in, he was like, "I'm done.
This isn't gonna work."
No." And then another time we try. I also like crosswords, so I am like every Thursday night when the paper comes, I like take that crossword and I go to bed and I do the crossword. And so we decided, Gift was like, I'm going to download a crossword app and we can do it together, like on virtual call. And we tried and he got so frustrated, he gave up. And he was like, I'm not doing this. And I was like, well, I'd like to do it. And he was like, nope, we're not doing it.
This is not part of our date night.
No. So, and also I think he was going to bring up on your birthday. Yeah. On Gift's birthday, I was like, oh, like, can you get like one of your like PSWs to like, pour you a glass of wine and like, you know, connect your straw so you can drink it. And so we did that. Yeah, but it's also difficult because like we can't really like eat a meal together or like have a drink together unless it's very well planned out.
Hello and welcome to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. We're here to help you navigate life while disrupting the status quo. Our discussions cover a number of topics relevant to everyday life. We discuss everything from relationships to entrepreneurship. We also engage in some difficult but important conversations. And now, here are your hosts, Brian and Tanya Hamilton.
Welcome to another episode of the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. Today we're joined by Gift and Erin. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. Really excited.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you on. We're excited to have this conversation. Now, before we jump into things, let's learn a bit more about you. So let's start off by with the first question I always like to ask: who are Gift and Erin? And we'll go in order, the order in which I said that. So, Gift, we'll let you kick things off for us.
Wow, thanks, Brian. That's a bit of a pressure, but I guess I'll go with what comes out of my head right away. I am a Black, disabled African man, born in Zimbabwe, and moved to Montreal when I was 12. And I'm an avid traveler. I love exploring different parts of the world, and I love technology. So in a nutshell, that's who I am. Oh, and I love food, by the way. That's very important. And that was like a requirement when we met with Erin to make sure that she also is a foodie. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Gift. And Erin?
Yeah. So I'm Erin, and I am the opposite of Gift. I am a white, able-bodied woman that was born and raised in the GTA in Ontario. And I don't really love to travel because I don't like airplanes. And yeah, I am a little bit of an adrenaline junkie and like adrenaline and like to just be outdoors and exploring the outdoors. And I am also a foodie, which is really, I think, where Gift and I, our first kind of point of interest was making sure that we both loved food. So.
And we also love Jesus. So that's another common factor there.
Truth.
Awesome. All right. Well, one thing that you mentioned, Erin, was being an adrenaline junkie. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, I ride a motorcycle. So that's kind of the first point. I like speed and I like being active, and I downhill ski, really anything where like I'm in control of the adrenaline is what I like. So I don't like airplanes because someone else is in control. But I like going really fast on my motorcycle, really fast in cars. And I'll really do anything. Like I would, I love like zip lining and anything like that gets my adrenaline going.
Which is interesting because I saw on your Instagram you've recently got over the fear of elevators.
Uh-huh.
So
Thank you.
like, okay, and I'm thinking motorcycle, zip lining. To me, no, thank you. I could go on an elevator all day long, you know. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I am claustrophobic, and I always have been, and I've hated elevators probably since I was like 5. Like I just have always hated them. And one of the actually first things I said to Gift, I think, in one of our conversations was, by the way, I don't take elevators. And he was like, that's okay. And I'm thinking, like, I don't think it is.
I already had a plan.
You need a wheelchair. Like, how is this okay?
I had a plan. Can I share what the plan was?
Sure.
So my plan was, that's okay. If she can't take the elevator, she can push the button for me, and then she can take the staircase. I take the elevator. I meet her at the floor.
Which apparently is a great plan. But I don't know how it happened, but I think a Gift, just in his loving, like accepting way and being very patient and kind, we rode elevators, and he was just like really like just loving about it, as opposed to like, get on the elevator. He was like, it's okay. If you don't want to do this, you can just take the stairs, just push the button for me. And I was like, no, it's okay. I'll get on. And I think because like the first weekend we spent together, we rode the elevator so many times that I just got accustomed to it. And now I will ride it alone.
There you
all
go.
the time.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me because
she's crushing it.
Yeah. For like 35 years, I never took an elevator alone.
And yesterday we went on a Ferris wheel.
There you go. And so, I'm gonna guess it was one of those like covered and stuff like that. So you're probably feeling a similar way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
He helped me overcome my fears.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that's like one of those neat things about a relationship, right? Where it's like when one has a fear and the other one doesn't, there's that like you said, it's the calmness too, and the approach on you take. Right? And if he was like, no, this is what needs to happen, well, obviously you're gonna get your back up, and that wouldn't have gone the way it went for you two. So
she has helped me eat healthier. I now eat greens. That was not part of my fruit group diet.
That's the fear we overcame in Gift.
Yes.
His fear of green vegetables.
Yes. I mean, you got to understand, like, I was never exposed to delicious salads. You know, it was just like hard shell lettuce with shredded carrots, you know, and some Caesar salad sauce, you know, like so the Caesar dressing, and that was it. That's not very exciting, you know, like she puts a lot of stuff in there, fruits, meat, you know, it's like, it's very, very enticing to me. So there you go.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So I think we should take it back to how you guys met. You guys shared the story with us. I would love for you guys to share with everybody else.
I feel like this time, well, I've talked a lot already, but I feel like I should tell it because Gift told it last time.
Do it.
So you can interject.
Mm-hmm.
Gift and I met online, which is everyone's story these days. Gift lived in Montreal. I lived in outside of Toronto and Brantford, and I never had my radius set very far because I would always get Americans, and I didn't want Americans. So I was up camping and had set my radius further because I was further away from the border, and Gift and I matched, or I swiped I swiped right on you.
You swiped right on me.
Right on you. I swiped right on him, and I was nervous that he wasn't going to swipe back on me. And I waited and waited, and then not long after, you swiped right on me.
Yeah,
right on me.
And then I thought I was an accident swipe, which happens in the online dating scene. I thought like she accidentally swiped right on me because, she has this like adrenaline rush activities, and she wouldn't be into someone like me who's not doing sports or outdoorsy and, not into camping and all that stuff. So I was like, no, she made a mistake. I mean, she's very like active, and she's very smart. She's very attractive. Like she wouldn't be into someone like me.
But I was very into him, and I thought he wouldn't be into me because he was very artsy and very into advocacy, and just was very musical, which I am not. And anyways, we both swiped right on each other, and I sent him a message, and we started talking, and probably talked for 3 hours the first day just by text, and then he started sending me voice messages, and I sent them back, and then the next day we talked on the phone, and just really hit it off and had a lot to talk about and connected kind of right away. And then a week later, went on our first date. He was actually in Toronto for a gala
For my work.
for a work gala. And I was like, yeah, I can make that work. So I drove to Toronto, or took the train to Toronto, and he was in Toronto, and we went to a vegan restaurant.
Yes.
Neither of us are vegan. I don't know why he took me there to this day.
Hey, you gotta make a good first impression, right? Like
Sure.
she had never been into a vegan restaurant, so I was like, let me make my mark.
But I will speak volumes about that restaurant. It was delicious.
Whenever you guys go to Toronto, we highly recommend Planta.
Okay. We are definitely not vegan.
We are
We are not.
definitely not either.
But we highly recommend it. And we're not sponsored by Planta, just FYI. We get like us,
Yeah.
sending a big shout out to Planta.
So let me also tell you that Gift told me, because this is important that you never said, that he never takes a girl to a restaurant because
On a first date.
on a first date, because it is difficult, because you have like Gift needs assistance in eating,
Okay.
and a lot of women wouldn't be comfortable with that. And he takes me to a restaurant that's like essentially a vegan sushi restaurant,
Oh.
where their utensil of choice is chopsticks. And I'm like, for real? Like, this is where you take me on a first date when you normally take girls for coffee?
It is a good way to test to see if this is gonna work or not.
True. So we went to this vegan sushi restaurant. It was excellent. We had a wonderful time. We really liked each other. And after that, we basically talked every single day. And out of kind of the blue, he asked me if I'd come to Montreal. And I was like, yeah, I'd come to Montreal and see how that goes. And I came to Montreal, and we decided that we would like to be a couple. And yeah, it went from there.
There you go.
There you go. So you had a meeting on the palm of your hand from date number 1.
I was praying hard. I don't have any game or anything like that. I'm not smooth. Like I'm the least smooth guy you can ever meet. I just left it in God's hand. I was like, God, please, I love this woman. I hope she says yes.
I
That's
really
all
hope you
did,
didn't love me after that.
so-
Before you even met me? That's what you just said.
Hey, there's a lot you can learn from somebody from just talking. We actually talked quite a bit too before we actually met in person, right? But I get what you mean, Gift. I understand.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone understands.
So I have to ask, going back to Erin, you being like outdoorsy, and like you said, like you look for like those adrenaline rushes and the activities that you do. How, and then Gift, you were saying not so much. How do you guys, I guess, make that work in regards to even the time that you spend together, so that both of you are, getting something out of the time?
Well, the thing is, like, even if like we're both not into like similar hobbies, like we really, really, really love each other, and we also really, really like each other. So we are interested in each other's activities a lot. So like we're interested in learning about each other's activities and see how can we participate in each other's activities. So that makes it work too. And what else? I would say also one of the things like we're really into is like really getting to improve and grow spiritually. So we really bond a lot over that. Like we pray a lot together. We read books together. Like I'm not a reader, but like she would read books to me, and I like that. I like that a lot. And yeah, like we figure out like ways to connect and yeah.
I mean, I feel like from a very like practical sense, like Gift likes to sing and be musical, and so he sings to me, and I love that. I don't sing to him because that would be awful. And I think like he's also like, I like to play a lot of sports and things like that, and he's very interested in that. Like he's already said like, hey, like can I come watch you play baseball, or like can I come watch a game with you?
Just FYI, once I asked if I could go camping with her. She was like, absolutely not. She was like, you're going to be complaining about the bugs, about this. You'll be like the worst person to go camping with. So I've been uninvited
That's not what
to
happened.
go camping with her.
So if lovingly said actually that he would like to come camping, and first of all, I like to go camping alone. I do enjoy going with other people, and I must tell you that Gift's inability to like his needs camping are actually the least of my concerns.
Okay.
My most present concerns are the fact that he would complain about every bug and every piece, like if it was too hot or too cold or too buggy or too rainy or too foggy or too, I don't even know. I don't know, but he does not like to be outside.
Honestly, guys, I'm not a difficult person.
And it's interesting that you say that, Erin, because I had a feeling that you were going to say, it wouldn't be your needs during the camping process, that it would be that, right? And, some people naturally would think, okay, how would that all unfold? But it's just, hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
I'm not concerned about any of the needs that would be like, it doesn't matter to me. Like I would be like, I'll find an accessible campsite. It'll be great, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not even that.
Yeah.
It's that I could put him in an entire like bug suit and he would still be miserable.
That's true. I'm a very fashionable person, so I wouldn't want anyone to see me in a bug suit. So let's hope that Instagram doesn't work. There's no reception out there because, yeah, I have an image to uphold.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then just going back to the whole, what you said, Gift, about like when you love somebody and you like somebody, on top of that, you are willing to be like, okay, it's not something I would do per se, but I want to get to know this person more. So I'm going to take an interest in what it is that they enjoy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're still not coming camping.
No? Okay, can you guys pray for me? Pray for her heart. Soften her heart so that she can allow me to go camping with her.
You got a few months before the nice weather comes. You never know what can happen.
Exactly. I have hope.
Oh, man.
Mm.
All right, now one thing I wanted to ask about too is because as you guys have described it, you're a interracial, interabled couple. Just again with that pairing, what has been kind of the feedback from your family? What has been the reaction, I guess, from your families?
Maybe if we can rewind before we even get to like feedback from family and friends. What I would say is like, I remember when I started talking to Erin, like I had concerns about like my physical needs, like how she would deal with that and like how open she is and stuff. And whenever we would just converse, I would make fun of my disability just to kind of cope and like, yeah, I would like just poke fun at the way I look or the way I do things. And Erin like just like stopped me right away. She was like, why don't you just let me like you? And I soon realized that like, oh, I've been like, deflecting and trying to use self-deprecating humor to, to get her to like me or to see how she reacts to my needs. So that's where it kind of started. It's like I had my own internalized ableism before we even started interacting with friends and family, and way to navigate that. And yeah.
Yeah, and I would say in terms of our friends and family, like our friends and family, I don't think like we don't face any obstacles, barriers with them. I think I have always a lot of my like experiences and interactions and through kind of my life work and volunteerism has been a lot doing like personal support work and respite work and just working with individuals with disabilities. And so I think like it doesn't surprise people in my circle at all. And anyone that Gift has met, I think it's gone well thus far.
Yeah, they've been no, they've been very warm. They've been very warm. I'd say, if anything, it's like when we are out and about in the world together, that's when we get like weird stares from the public, from people, where they don't understand this whole like duo, like what's happening there. Like, are they really a couple, or like, or is it like her aide or nurse or something? Like, there's always like these weird looks, that we get in public.
I think the one question I have had from like friends or individuals has been like, is it not like exhausting, or like do you ever get tired of not the relationship but like the needs?
Right.
But that's really, I think, the only question I've gotten. I think if anything else, people just keep it to themselves.
Yeah, and like also it's like worth to note, like even when we started talking, like I was like, very clear with Erin, like I don't expect you to do like full time my personal care needs, blah 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 blah. I just want you to be my partner.
Right.
So I never had those expectations from the get go, or even for the long haul. Yeah.
Right. And so Gift, you're in Montreal. You live on your own, right? And so you have somebody that comes in. I think you were saying like a couple times a day, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're like how people would maybe have those questions. It's like I've been doing this on my own.
Yeah.
For X amount of years, right?
Exactly.
Your comment of wanting to be in a relationship and partner. That's what I need because I have the other aspect taken care of, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's still important to note that like my partner had to be someone who understands my needs as well, right? Like who's like also comfortable, if like in the event they need to assist me, that they're comfortable with that. That's super important, because like I have been in relationships where those partners were not, right, and that plays a really negative role within the relationship itself. So yeah.
Excellent. Now, the other thing, Gift, I know just from our conversation in the past, I know you speak multiple languages. I kind of want to go back and talk about this story of you coming from Zimbabwe to Canada. How did all that unfold?
It's a very funny story. I didn't know that we were moving to live and settle in Canada. I thought we were going on a vacation. That's what I was told. Keep in mind, I was 12 years old, right? So as a 12-year-old, you have a big mouth. So you will just blabber to your friends, I'm going to live in Canada. Suck it. Like... so my mom just said we're going on vacation and we're gonna live with these white people and we're gonna, and so I already started having this image that these white people are gonna feed me lasagna, pizza, spaghetti, all the white food that like I dream of having on a daily basis, because I was just tired of like our traditional food. So I'm like, my time has come, I've made
getting out of here.
I'm getting out of here, you know? And this is not to say like I had a bad life in Zimbabwe. I had a great life in Zimbabwe. But, you know, it's just like this experience was like very exciting to me, you know? So we moved here and we lived like in like a refugee like hotel where like all the refugees coming from different parts of the world live. And 1 month goes, I'm like, so when are we meeting your friends? Your white friends who are going to take us and keep us? My mom was like, oh, soon. They're very busy. They're very busy. 2 months goes.
Oh,
We don't
geez.
see these white families. I'm like, what is going on? Right? And I'm still hopeful, right? On the third month, you gotta say, I really had like a lot of faith. Because like I kept like asking every day. And on the third month, I just gave up. Because I never saw these white families and I just gave up on my dream of eating lasagna and pizza on a daily. Like we found an apartment and kept eating the food that we ate in Zimbabwe. So that was not exciting. Yeah, yeah. So there you have it. That was my transition to Montreal.
And who came again?
So it was my mother and one of my brothers. We came here, my brother Paul, and
Okay.
yeah. So like my mom always had like this master plan of just like shipping us in different parts of the world. So like we were like the last three left to leave. Yeah. And I know it sounds like I'm saying like Zimbabwe was a war zone. It was not a war zone, people. Like it was fine. It was more of like having better quality of life.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I guess coming from Zimbabwe, is it safe to assume that French wasn't a language that was widely spoken?
Definitely not. Okay, so I forgot this piece of information. We were not supposed to live in Montreal. Okay, this was accidental, pure accidental. We were supposed to live in Toronto, actually. So I could have met you guys earlier. But what happened is the cheapest flight was to Montreal. So my mom was like, you know what, we're going to live in Montreal for a little bit, and then we'll move to Toronto once we have a bit of money. Because we knew that Montreal is a French city. We didn't speak the language, we only spoke English. So we came here and we built community and we just never left.
And how's your French?
My French is passable. I haven't assimilated well enough. Like even my English is like, I don't even sound Canadian. I have like certain words that like come out and Erin is like, what? How are you pronouncing
His
that?
French is great.
Uh,
The guy speaks like 4 languages fluently.
I'm okay. But
You're humble. You're humble.
like don't ask me to pronounce certain words because you will laugh. Like you'll hear my Southern Africanness come out. So I'm trying to hide it. And yeah. Next question.
So
He wants you to say something before I ask him to say a certain word to you. Because he knows he can't. Gift, can you tell them how you say robot?
No, we don't want to. But I literally have to think about this word.
Just say robot.
Okay, so when I don't think
I just need you to say robot.
Robot.
Okay, so yeah.
So for me to say like 1 second, robot.
There you go, you got it.
I really have to think about it, but in the moment, you can tell I'm very African.
There you go. But you speak 4 different languages, so there you go.
5 of them, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. 5. There you go. So, okay, let's go on to long distance relationships because I think that happens more than often these days, especially like you said, Erin, in the whole online dating world, right? Especially if that radius is set, broader, I guess, right? Then you are meeting people. So how do you guys make the long distance relationship work?
I'll let Erin talk because I've talked a lot right now.
I mean, we do a lot of virtual calls, a lot of telephone conversations. And really that's how we make it work best. I think we talked about in the very beginning, we talked about our expectations, which was helpful. And I, at first we were like, okay, like once a month, like that's kind of our expectation to be able to actually see each other in person. And very quickly Gift was like, this is not working for me. I need to see you twice a month. So now he tries to come like Toronto way once, and I try to come to Montreal, or we meet like in Kingston kind of area, about twice a month. Is our plan. And obviously this time is longer than usual. Usually it's like a weekend, but sometimes we try and do more than that. But yeah, just a lot of virtual calls, and I think just a lot of we learned very quickly that our communication needs to be really clear and just on our expectations, but also just being trustworthy with each other and honest with each other right from the get-go. And we basically talk about anything and everything, which I think is helpful as well.
And like also even like quite early on, we asked each other, how do you feel about like couple counseling? That was like super important, just that like we have couples counseling before anything happens, before we have like huge conflict, so that like we're just equipped with the right tools to have good constructive conflicts while also taking care of each other's needs. And that was like a really like mutual feeling that we had, which was like a huge relief for me, because like if one person is not down for that, it's hard, right? So that's been like another thing of like making sure that like we're going on the right path, is like hitting the ground running sort of thing.
I don't know. One thing to add to that, I think we're both like, okay, I'm old. Gift is not as old as me.
She's not old.
But being like older in a long distance relationship, I think makes a difference, because for us, like right from the beginning, we talked about like what we want long term, and like, you're in Montreal and I'm in, west of Toronto. So like, what would that look like long term? Who would move to who? Like what kind of is our thought to that? And so very quickly we established like where we were at, and I think like how we felt about each other. And so I think in that aspect, it's just kind of easier because we kind of committed to each other early on, and I just decided to be kind of honest with each other about our expectations and where we were headed.
And I think it's true, right? Like age, previous experience, and things that have happened, you don't even have to be old, but it's like when you do get back into a healthy relationship, you realize it's like, okay, these are things I don't want to bring or I don't want to see happen again, and you can be proactive, right? And that's exactly what you guys have done, because a lot of people sometimes think, okay, the counseling piece only comes up when there's an issue, right?
Fixed,
And that's one thing, even just talking with couples or counselors during these podcasts, that like obviously it's better to do it before that, right? You're being proactive, you're getting things put into place for when it comes, because we all know it's going to happen. You're just going to be well equipped for when those times come. So good for you guys.
Thank you.
And good for you on clear communication too. I know we've been married for 15 years and we still haven't quite mastered that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think there's always places to grow, right? You don't ever master anything.
Yeah.
Now, another question I have, just in terms of a long-term relationship or long-distance relationship. Now, Gift has established, well, I'm sure you guys have established it together, but you guys have established you're going to meet twice a month. Do you guys ever do like a virtual date?
Not really.
Okay, wait, let me tell you about our virtual date.
We did. The wine, like we had like.
It wasn't even it. I was going to tell you about the time that Gift decided we would play a game together.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. I really like games too, like board games, card games, and obviously like Gift can't like physically play games very well, but like online it works. Okay. So he decided that we were gonna play chess. What do we play?
We didn't play chess.
No.
We haven't played chess.
What do we play? We played Scrabble. I think we played Scrabble.
Don't
Very-
give Scrabble to someone whose first language is not English. Okay, that's just like set up for failure.
Okay, stop. That's not what happened.
Okay, that's what happened.
What happened was Gift decided we were going to play Scrabble, and
'Cause I was trying to
literally 15 minutes in, he was like, "I'm done."
This isn't gonna work.
No. And then another time I also like crosswords. So I am like every Thursday night when the paper comes, I like take that crossword and I go to bed and I do the crossword. And so we decided, Gift was like, I'm going to download a crossword app and we can do it together, like on virtual call. And we tried and he got so frustrated. He gave up and he was like, I'm not doing this. And I was like, well, I'd like to do it. And he was like, nope, we're not doing it.
This is not part of our date night.
No. So, and also I think he was going to bring up on your birthday. Yeah. On Gift's birthday, I was like, oh, like, can you get like one of your like PSWs to like pour you a glass of wine and like, you know, connect your straw so you can drink it. And so we did that.
Yeah,
but
nice.
It's also difficult because like we can't really like eat a meal together or like have a drink together unless it's very well planned out.
Right.
So a lot of our virtual dates are really just like talking and connecting and like praying together or reading together. Yeah, because we can't really like have those like physical dates.
Well, I think my time has come. I have a chess set here. So maybe after the call, I'll be showing her how to play chess.
Lucky you, Erin.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think it's about time to go to bed after this call. Actually, I'm good.
Well, you do have until Thursday, so you may end up learning.
I am so busy. I have so many things that are happening.
Oh man. Okay, so the 5 love languages. Do you guys know about them?
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what's yours, Erin? And Gift, what's yours?
I said your name first.
Oh, did we talk about this last time?
No.
Mine are touch and quality time.
And mine are quality time and acts of service.
Okay.
Yes. So like long distance wise, especially like for Erin, like the touch piece, it's always a bit of a challenge, you know, like with long distance, because like we can't really facilitate that, you know, like so we've figured out like ways like to still like tap into that, even if we're like long distance, you know, like describing, you know, like, oh, I wish I could hug you right now, you know, or yeah, I wish I could hold your hand right now. Like we figured out ways to at least like, you know, meet those love languages that are hard to express long distance. And yeah. And then in person, of course, physical touch is something that we navigated very, very quickly. Again, it's like if you really love someone and you really like somebody, it's not like a chore to figure out how physical touch works, you know. Yeah.
It was my biggest fear, though.
It
in
was
this
mine too.
relationship.
What I say? Yeah.
Well, I was like, okay, so physical touch is my like, it's what I need in a relationship. And I'm like, I can't, like, hugging is like one-sided, or at least that's what I thought, which it's not, but it's definitely like what I anticipated. And everything, like, I have to initiate any form of kind of physical touch also, which isn't entirely true.
Not anymore.
No. But definitely like just trying to figure out like how to navigate that, and obviously quality time too, like navigating that being long distance is a huge thing, and navigating acts of service when like everything for Gift is like service. So like, yeah, like eating a meal or like, I don't know, cleaning up after a meal or like, yeah, anything, right, is like technically an act of service. So navigating love languages and like how we love each other has been, I don't know, an adventure. Let's call it an adventure.
Yeah. In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like but it's just been feeling very like natural and like fluid, like just because like we just like have so much love for each other, and like that's made quite a huge difference. And yeah.
Mm. So, and another thing to go on that, right? Just because I guess there's myths out there. I nothing specifically comes to mind. I'm just thinking even when it comes to that intimacy, right, and the touch that Erin you look for in a relationship. Are there any myths that I guess you guys have been able to sort of bust, even if it's just amongst yourself? You know what I mean? Like for anybody looking in on your relationship.
I mean, do you want to talk about like how like the first hug, like how that felt for you?
Yeah, I think so. Like on our first date,
She didn't want to hug me. Let me just put it out there. I'm just gonna lay it out. I showed up and I was like, "Oh, can I give you a hug?" And she was like, "No." And then later in the evening, I asked for a hug. She was like, "No." Okay.
okay, this is a podcast, not a therapy session. Okay. Jeez.
Oh gosh.
So that did happen, but that's not exactly how it happened. Anyways, after the date that went quite well, we seemed to like each other.
Mm-hmm.
We were at the train station because I was going back on the train and he was going back to his hotel. And he asked me for a hug before I left. And I think like previous to this situation, I very much was like obviously I've hugged someone in a wheelchair before, but like I didn't know how it was going to go or feel, or if he was going to be able to like give me anything back. And I was like pleasantly surprised. Like it felt very mutual, in very, I don't know, like Gift is able to initiate touch in like his own ways, which has been very surprising, but just like very good for our relationship. And I think that most people would like think that like he can't provide that that touch piece, or like that hugging him would be completely one-sided, or like how can you hold his hand, or any of that. But it's not like that at all. Like I don't know, we just make it work. And I think very much like normalize that like we're just two people that are in a relationship, and that we navigate that in our own way.
And everyone has different techniques and such, like other folks who are like in interable relationships. But practically speaking, like for example, with the hug with Erin, like it's like I don't just sit there when she's hugging me, and just like, yeah, give me a hug, like like I shrug my shoulders, I tense up my neck so that she feels that tight hug, that tight hug and warm hug, and yeah, so that she can also feel that like I am, embracing her that way too. And on our first date, first time we held hands, I was not smooth at all. Like I wanted to hold her hand, but I didn't want to just like ask and be like, oh, "Can I hold your hand?" I was super nervous, and I said, "My hands are cold. Do you want us to hold each other's hands and warm each other's hands up?"
You had that line somewhere ready to go, eh?
And hear me out. And
Sure.
Erin like immediately called me out.
I was gonna say, come on, Erin would know.
She immediately called me out, and she's like, "Are your hands actually really cold, or do you want to hold my hand?" And then I said, "Column A and column B."
And then we held hands.
And then we held hands just fine.
But also, like, communication is a huge thing, right? Like when Gift wants, there are other like physical signals, but like to hold hands or to hug, like he has to say it. And that also is like a huge piece, which I think like in a lot of relationships is missing, right? Like like communication is such a huge important piece. And for us, it's even important in physical touch, right?
Now, in terms of planning for again, in terms of a long-term relationship, long-distance relationship, just looking at your future, what are some of the we talked about this a little bit, but what are some of the other things that that you've had to navigate or are currently navigating when you're planning for down the road?
So yeah, so when it comes to going to Ontario and such, let's say just visiting Erin, we have to think about accessibility, right? Who's going with me to assist me in the train, traveling, and then when we get there, where are we staying? Like accessibility is like a huge thing, and even when I'm thinking long term, we're looking at like accessibility of where we're going to be staying. We're looking at transit services, and we're also even looking at like personal care, right? What kind of supports do we need? Are we going to look into an agency that's going to help out with that piece, or are we going to look into a program where they give us funds and we hire our own people, which we are more like leaning more towards that, because when you hire your own people, it's less medical, right? And the type of treatment that you get, it's like more like personal, and it's authentic. It's not that it's not authentic from those who are working in the health field, but it's just a different dynamic. And like we would like our home to stay like a home, right? Like
Right.
not a medical facility. So like those are like the things we've talked about of like what we want to see in the future, and like which parts of the day would be like most useful, which parts of the day we do not need any assistance, and so that we can still have our privacy and our our home. So those are the things that we've talked about extensively.
We've clearly also talked about the fact that I'm not moving to Montreal.
She doesn't speak French at all, so that would be a bad idea. But it worked out too that like I've never been like attached to Montreal to settle in Montreal. It's always been like in my mind that I am leaving this place.
Back to when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, but, Montreal is great. It's just like for accessibility reasons, it's not
the
best.
parking is horrible. I don't understand the language.
The cuisine, you have this like
the
European.
The pastries are good. That's it.
You have this European flair in a North American, place, and
Yeah, all these things that all relationships you got to talk about, right? It's just almost going just a little deeper in regards to everything that will have to sort of unfold prior to, or sorry, that you would have to plan for prior to the big move. Yeah.
So much of it though is normal for Gift, right? Like every day he lives this and like has lived it for how old are you? 33 years. And so though it's like different for like me, it's not different for him. Like it's his life. So
now, one thing that you mentioned at the top of this conversation, Gift, was that you really like technology, and I read somewhere that you actually developed something that helps people with disabilities make music. Can you talk to us a bit about that? Because I thought that was really interesting.
Brian, you've been stalking me. What's happening?
Everyone stalks you, Gift. That's what we do. It's super easy.
I like to think of it as research and preparation.
I research and prep for our first date too. So there you
go. Yeah, it's really like anyways, wow, I was not expecting that. So I work with this technologist, also my business partner. His name is Charles Matthews, and we create accessible digital instruments, so that folks with disabilities, regardless of their disability, they could perform, they could become musicians, they could play these digital instruments, whether it's on their computer, whether it's on their smartphone or iPad. You have it, like it's all adapted to their particular needs. so when we started this, is that we saw that a lot of like musical softwares or digital instruments, they are adjusted to meet specific needs, and they're not open source. They cannot be reconfigured to someone's specific needs. So we wanted to make sure that every digital instrument we are creating is something that can be reconfigured easily for someone's needs, because we can't really take into account everybody's accessibility needs. Like we can't
Right.
foresee that. Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I actually didn't know that, so that was surprising to me too, Gift.
Hey, I see you, Brian. Okay. I see how you do.
No, I had a question for Erin, and I feel like I'm being led to throw you under the bus here, but I was supposed to ask you about your Betta Fish blueberry.
Oh no.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
because I am very I will say anything on social media. This is the problem. And in front of people, I will not. I keep a lot of things hidden. And so, okay, this is because I hopped into a conversation with the three of you and you're talking about fish because you have an aquarium behind you. And Gift was talking about his pet fish. What was its name?
Kawe.
Oh,
He
yes.
he had a Zulu name.
Yeah, we have this whole
This was a
conversation about your
must.
Zulu name. And Gift, I almost said Pip. Pip's
Oh,
my
also,
dog.
Kawe means prince, just for reference.
We're
Okay.
not talking about your prince fish right now.
Well, he asked what was his name.
Okay. So Gift likes to talk about his Betta fish. And so I jump into this conversation with the three of you, not like never having met the two of you. And I'm like, I'm not jumping in with my story about my Betta fish. But inside, everything inside of me wanted to. And all I could think was that I had a Betta fish named Blueberry at one point in my life, and it jumped out of the tank and it committed suicide. And I kid you not, like it literally just jumped out and I found it on my bedroom floor, like dried up. And it was, I know, it was awful. It was tragic. And this is the story that I wanted to share the first time we hopped onto a call with you, because that's what I hopped.
In the first 30 seconds of meeting online, yeah. After I was like, oh no.
And I was like, I'm absolutely not going to say that. That's the only thing I thought of to say, which was why I didn't say anything.
Oh man.
But yes, thank you for throwing me under the bus. That was really nice of you.
I really appreciate that.
Oh man. And you know, I can appreciate that you guys can laugh. And since we're all throwing each other under the bus, I will share mine. When we just got on this call at the beginning, we were talking about who is going to go first in regards to the who is Erin and Gift. And I said, you can rock, paper, scissor, and not like even thinking and not trying to be a jerk whatsoever. Erin's like, Gift can't do that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I was not trying. You guys
I'm so sorry for like making you feel bad. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, you're laughing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so inappropriate of me. Like, why would I?
No, I think it was completely inappropriate because I obviously win because you cannot rock, paper, and scissors if you can.
It's good, Tanya. You don't see disability. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
There you go. Thanks, Kim. So there you go. I think everybody has had their moment, but now I'll put it over to Brian every once in a well, not every once in a while. He usually has like this really great. I'm throwing you under the bus right now. This really great thought-provoking question that comes to mind. I find every time we have an episode. So take it over.
Yeah, so and just kind of speaking to the last point, my wife has like fantastic, she's been doing a lot of part of her New Year's resolution is just like fitness goals, and she's really improved her flexibility. She has the uncanny ability to get that foot into her mouth. But anyways, the question that I'll ask, since I have to ask something thought-provoking now, is, if for both of you, if you're to look back, a few months ago before you had met, and Gift, you're able to speak to yourself prior to meeting Erin, and knowing what you know now, and Erin, same thing for yourself. You can go back and speak to yourself prior to meeting Gift. what piece of advice would you share with the the 5 month older version or 5 month younger version of yourself to prepare for this relationship?
Just be you, just be your authentic self, and everything will fall into place, right? Because like when I met, like in my previous relationship, it's like I'm trying to prove that I'm worthy or that I am, like worth loving. And, I do like, flex with all my accolades and all that stuff. But Erin was not interested in that. She was just interested in learning about me, and she found me, attractive inside and out. And I just had to be me. I didn't have to pretend to be someone else. So that's kind of like the advice I would say is like, just be you, and everything else will fall into place. And yeah, you, yeah.
That was really beautiful. I don't know how to say anything. And Gift normally isn't that eloquent with words on the spot like
Oh,
that.
thank you.
I know.
Thank you. Mhm.
I don't know what to say. I think I'm a big planner in life, and like to like plan everything in my life out. And I think for me, it's mostly just like being able to like sit back and just let things happen and let like God work. And I think that's how Gift came into my life, that I was just sitting back and going, you know what, like God, like just take control of this. And like, I'm gonna do life. I'm going to, do what I need to do. And yeah, and then Gift came into my life. And I think for me, that's a big thing, is not to plan every little detail, but just to kind of enjoy life and enjoy moments and situations, and yeah, just be content in the present.
That was beautiful.
I was gonna say that too was beautiful.
That's good. That's awesome. 2 mic drop answers there.
Yeah.
Now,
You guys passed the test.
but no, when you look at even how things came together, if I remember correctly, when we were speaking last, Gift, you had actually mentioned you were about to get off the dating app just before.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember even praying. I was like, I even told my best friend, I was like, this weekend's the last weekend I'm gonna be in this platform. Like I'm out. Like I'm done. And literally it's like Saturday evening, I met Erin. Yeah. And also I was one who was not into long distance. So here we are.
He had never dated anyone out of Montreal, outside of Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, if it hadn't been for that camping trip, you wouldn't have even been in range. So yeah,
No, not at all.
No.
meant to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love your story. It's and thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having us.
No,
Thank you.
it's been a lot of fun. So again, thank you for making the time. I know obviously the time that you actually get to spend physically together is pretty limited. So we appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. And for everyone who's watched or listened to this episode of the podcast, thank you for letting us disrupt your everyday.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. For more ways to listen, connect with us on social media. To be a guest or to partner with us, check out our link tree at Disrupt the Everyday. Join us next time for more ways to disrupt the everyday.